Wait here. You might have chosen somewhere less public.
May I have a drink?
2 vodka and tonics, please.
Charles, can I begin by saying that I'm sorry? It sounds rather inadequate, but I do mean it.
Sorry you were found out, or sorry you ended up in bed with Dalgleish?
I'm not sorry I was found out, except that it hurt you. Nor can I honestly say that I regret the affair. That's what it was. You'd know I was lying if I said otherwise. I just wish that we'd been happier together, and then the situation would never have arisen.
Are you blaming me for this?
No, I'm simply trying to offer an explanation.
Well, frankly, I'm not very interested in your explanations. You picked up a man you hardly knew and made love to him in our bed.
Perhaps it was a perverse form of revenge on you.
Well, it certainly worked.
Prego, signora. Signor.
I'm not eating. You still seeing him?
No.
You want to?
No.
Well, what do you want?
To remain married to you.
Really? I don't think you've grasped all the implications of your little affair. Has it not occurred to you that Dalgleish is not only a colleague, but also chairman of the next-door constituency? If this got out, he'd be finished, and I'd have the shortest career of any minister of the Crown on record.
It won't get out.
Well, you better be right. For both our sakes. Take me to my club.
Will you be staying there again tonight, sir?
Just do as I ask, Terry.
Yes, sir.
Fill up your glasses, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah? Now, we're always very proud when one of our members takes silk. It's a comment not only on the man, but also on the chambers. And when he is the youngest silk, still under 40, if I remember rightly, Raymond?
Stick to your brief, Nigel. Don't confuse us with statistics.
Needless to say, we're all very proud of you. And Raymond, of course, also serves in another place. Whither he will return, I feel sure, one day to power and even greater glory.
Not if you vote the same way you did last time.
That's a matter between me and the bedpost. Finally, may I say how very pleasant it is to see Joyce among us today. Ladies and gentlemen, the toast is Raymond Gould, QC.
Raymond Gould, QC.
Well, you all know how politicians and lawyers hate making speeches. Justice, it seems, is blind after all, and there's no better proof of it than the fact that I've been allowed to become a QC. I think because it was a Conservative Chancellor, he probably hoped that it would keep me out of the House of Commons. Nevertheless, I would like to thank all of you for allowing me to take so much credit for our successes at the Bailey. And I'd also like to thank the absent villains, criminals, and cutthroats who, because of our efforts, can't attend this party. And finally, for those who want to see the back of me, the solution is very simple. Ensure the return of a Labour government at the next election. Thank you.
Well done, Ray. Congratulations, Raymond.
Thank you. Joyce, this is Stephanie Arnold. Joyce, Stephanie works in the office, so this is my wife.
I'm delighted to meet you.
I thought I knew everybody in Chambers.
Stephanie hasn't been with us very long.
I've got something to celebrate, too. We've just become engaged.
Congratulations, Patrick.
Thank you very much, Raymond.
Patrick is one of our clerks.
It's always nice to see an office romance turn out happily.
I'm sorry about Redcorn, Simon. Thank you. I'll be sorry to lose you, especially now. The 3-day week and the bloody mindedness on the part of the miners are very ominous signs. We're going to need all our resources to survive.
I'm not deserting a sinking ship, Christopher. Regrettably, it's me who's been thrown overboard.
What'll you do if you can't find a seat before the next election?
Oh, that's a good question. When I left Oxford, I worked for the BBC. I suppose I could try and get something there. Other than that, I can live off my wife's earnings or write jingoistic articles for the Sunday Express. I wish you had been PM, Christopher.
Too late for that. I must be on my way.
Would you ever challenge the leadership again if it came to it, which it might?
It's too late for that.
Many congratulations, Alec. I have to admit it, but you're a sly one.
What are you talking about?
Littlehampton. How did you manage to pick that one up when no one was looking?
Oh, perhaps they liked the color of my eyes.
They certainly didn't like mine. Congratulations, anyway.
You mean you put yourself forward for Littlehampton?
As soon as Sir Edward told me it was on the market.
I never realized that.
You mean you'd have graciously withdrawn if you had?
No, but I would hardly have rated my chances.
Well, Charles Seymour was kind enough to put in a word for me, but obviously
I didn't know you and Charles were close.
We're not. He offered, and I was grateful.
Simon, did Charles say why you weren't accepted?
He said that Dalglish wanted somebody rather more right-wing.
This advice comes a little late, but do be wary of anyone in this house who opens a door for you before you've touched the handle.
Andrew, I think this is one of your constituents.
What is it?
Another of those sob stories that appeals to you? Usual thing, convicted prisoner who claims he's innocent.
Paddy O'Halloran. Never heard of him. What did he do?
Robbed a bank, but of course he was in a pub at the time. Want it?
Yeah, I'll look into it.
I thought you might.
There's no answer.
We can't keep these people waiting any longer.
Well, he might have missed the train.
He should have been here last night.
I'm sorry. Mr. Gould's been delayed in London. I tried to see him last week. I know, Mrs. Hobbs. Take a seat. I won't be long, and then we'll see what we can do. Now, who was first? Come in.
Look, this is really a matter for Mr. Gould.
I'm his wife, and this is his agent, Stan Fulton. I'm sure between us we can sort something out.
Right, 4 lamb chops.
Yes, that's fine. Thick ones.
There we are. Right, they do him.
Oh, that's nice, right. Yes.
Well, have you got the keys? Aye. Joyce left them on the way to your surgery. Right, that'll be 30p, Jim. All right. How'd the move go? All right. I don't know. It's hardly a social call. She just left the keys. Right, that's 30, 26 for your sausages, 20 or 5, 76 all together. Tell me, what number is it?
47, the board's still outside. Right.
It will become the new standard of politics in the United States. And believe me, that is a big issue. That's of deep concern and should be of deep concern to my constituency. And then lastly, I think I have gauged my constituency's opinions correctly, because even though Watergate didn't get him disturbed, the whole country is getting very
Decide to get off your backside, that's for you.
Cover-up
it's called constituency business.
So fortunately,
in case you've forgotten you had
finally the pin pricked, and Americans who are an idealistic people see some very valuable institutions here.
Look, I'm sorry I missed the move. I'm sorry I missed surgery. I just couldn't get away.
How long has the power been off?
About an hour. You want some tea?
I can make it.
No, I'm not.
Why couldn't you get away?
I had a brief. Last minute, I had to deal with it.
Couldn't you have done that on the train?
No, I had to consult the client and the solicitor.
And you had to consult them this morning as well?
No, but I couldn't do it.
But what?
Joyce, I'm doing 2 jobs.
Do you know how many people were waiting for you in the surgery? 15. Waiting for their MP in a freezing surgery who hasn't even got the decency to telephone.
Well, I telephoned last night. There was nobody here. I couldn't telephone this morning because I would have missed the train.
There wasn't much point being on it, was there? What the hell did you come home for? Home cooking? Get your laundry done?
I've apologized. What more do you want me to do?
Don't you walk out on me.
All right. I spent 5 days out of 7 debating and arguing the toss. If you want to make it 6, go ahead. I'm ready.
Don't be pompous with me, Ray. You're not talking to some fat-headed Tory or trying to impress some pretty little girl in the law court.
What's that supposed to mean?
It doesn't take a high court judge to see guilt written all over your face.
Well, that's very clever, Joyce.
Clever? That's one thing I've never claimed to be. I wouldn't, would I? Stupid little Joyce. All she does all week is walk up and down North Leeds trying to get a bus shelter built so pensioners don't have to stand in the rain. The woman must be mad. What's she doing spending a Saturday morning sitting in a freezing surgery apologising for her husband, dealing with this? I may not have the looks of the silly tarts in London. But it's all right up here at election time, isn't it? Then it's good old Joyce, my dear wife, salt of the earth. Until the poor misguided fools vote you back in, and then you're back like a rabbit to your little love nest on the Thames.
You think I'm having an affair, don't you?
Well, are you?
No, I'm not.
Why not? Successful QC, Member of Parliament, what's wrong with you? Are you suddenly abnormal? You must be sleeping with somebody, Ray, because you're certainly not sleeping with me.
That's the way I tell them. Your Uncle Lee, who's an iron tablets, died this morning. We didn't bury
I know
her,
I'm not the
we
wife
split
you
for her
wanted
in
to
the
marry.
stockyard.
I've always known that. But at least try and treat me as if I am, even if it's only pretense. Then I think I can cope with anything.
The comedians tonight were George Roper, Colin Crumpton, Mike Reed, Frank Carson.
How can this woman be so sure that O'Halloran was there in the pub?
Apparently he spilled his beard on her best dress, and she remembered that it was Friday the 13th.
Then why didn't she inform the police?
They didn't ask her.
Huh. Well, I think you may have a case.
Good. Now, Simon, the reason I wanted to see you privately is because I don't think there are any party political points to be gained from this case for either of us. I've no wish to try and embarrass your department.
So where do you want to go from here?
Well, I'd like to table a planted question to your department in the hope that you'd open an inquiry, and if the inquiry comes to the same conclusion as I have, I'd expect you to order a retrial.
And if the inquiry goes against you, will you agree to no reprisals for the Home Office?
You have my word on that.
Good. Shall I call the civil servants in now?
Fine. So, how's your search for a safe seat working out?
Not so good.
Well, long time till the next election. You're sure to find a seat by then.
If the rumours are true, I might not have too long before the Prime Minister goes to the country to test his strength against the unions.
Well, that would be foolish. He might defeat us. He won't defeat the unions.
Mr. Fraser is asking the Home Office to consider the possibility.
He regards this strike as a political matter. We, of course, have known this from the beginning of our talks with the National Union of Mine Workers. Mr. McCullen is not conducting a wage negotiation. He is not seeking to get a settlement of a claim in accordance with Stage 3. What he and his committee want is one thing, to get rid of the elected government of the day and replace it with a left-wing party.
Nevertheless, Prime Minister, the past months have proved that the government is not succeeding by using tactics of defiance.
We have always been willing to negotiate with the NUM, but only in a democratic context. And we have the backing of the nation on that. They know who they expect to run the country.
Don't the polls tell a rather different story, Prime Minister?
Well, you and I obviously don't read the same polls.
If, as you say, you have the confidence of the nation, wouldn't the best way to prove that be to call a general election?
The question of a general election does not arise.
Ah, stop bluffing, Lindsay.
What's your game, mate? You're trying to kill the two of us?
Did I wake you?
No. There's no one hiding under the bed.
I don't want to lose you, Fee. I don't know if I'll ever get over what happened, but I realize now that I need you. I don't want our marriage to end. It mustn't.
Am I listening to a husband or a politician?
Both.
Well, at least you're honest.
I'm not entirely blameless. I did take you for granted. I did neglect you.
Well, I could have survived that. I did for 10 years.
Then why did you do it?
I wanted some affection. You never mentioned that, not even now. You talk of needing me, of not losing me. The truth is that you're a minister of the Crown who doesn't want the scandal of a divorce or to hear gossip in the corridors. You came here tonight because there's an election in the air and you're scared. Admit it. Well, I accept that for the moment. It's not enough to keep us together forever.
I'll sleep in the spare room.
Andrew Fraser.
Number 17, sir.
Sir Simon Kerslake.
Yes, sir.
Andrew Fraser.
May I thank the honourable gentleman for agreeing to an inquiry so quickly and ask him if the inquiry finds that there has been an injustice to my constituent, Mr. Paddy O'Halloran, will the Home Secretary reopen the case?
Sir Simon Kerslake.
If the evidence suggests that there has been a miscarriage of justice, the honourable gentleman can rest assured that I will refer the matter to my right honourable friend, the Home Secretary, for him to take the necessary action.
I'm grateful to the honourable gentleman.
It's set February the 28th.
What was that, Alec?
The election. Lindsay's calling it for the 28th. It's official. Well, at least you won't have to go through the squalor of campaigning again.
Oh, thanks, Alec. Always the comforter. So, 3 more weeks and it's goodbye to all this.
It's always the chance of a by-election.
Why? Are you thinking of dropping dead?
Have me buy you a drink?
No, thanks.
Not even a vodka martini, shaken, not stirred?
No, thank you. I'm on the wagon.
How very dull. Simon, I have contacts in the publishing world. Now, perhaps you could write a book. It's better paid than being here.
Not unless you write a bestseller, it isn't.
Well, let me know if you change your mind.
You know, Alec, although we don't always see eye to eye politically, and we have nothing in common socially, out of all the people here, you're probably the one I'll miss the most.
What date do you expect for the retrial?
Well, it'll be after the election. It could take a few months. You have to be a bit careful when you question police evidence.
Well, I'm very grateful you took the case, Raymond.
You do realise I'm very expensive, though?
Well, Halloran's on legal aid, so file it under good causes.
Yes, I already have.
That'll be our Scott Snouts friends. I'll get it.
Ah, is this what I think it is?
Oh, hello. My husband, come on in.
Jock, come in.
Mr. Fraser.
Gentlemen, come in. Would you like to just go through?
Hello, Jock.
I'll be with you in a moment.
Evening, gentlemen. I'm just leaving.
Cheerio, Raymond. Thanks for coming
Yes,
down.
thank you. Bye-bye.
Good evening.
Right, find yourself a seat. If Robert, just come out just now. Sit yourselves down, gentlemen. Would anyone like tea or coffee? Something stronger?
No need. We won't be staying very long.
Right.
I'll get straight to the point, Mr. Fraser. We'd like you to fight under the SNP banner at the election.
Well, you must understand that I couldn't change colours overnight, even if I wanted to.
You did before. So hear me out. We want you to contest the Edinburgh Carlton seat, not just as a Scottish nationalist, but as leader of the party. We're convinced you'll lose your seat in any case if you fight it as a socialist. But we realise that there are many people in Scotland who, whatever their political views, admire you for what you have achieved. We saw what you did for us in Aberdeen over the North Sea oil contract, and we appreciate your effort over the O'Halloran business. With you as leader, we believe we could capture 40 to 50 of the 71 seats in Scotland.
Mr. McPherson, gentlemen, I'm very flattered by your proposal, but I feel I must reject it. I could say that I'd think it over, give it due consideration and all that, but I can see that you all appreciate a straight answer. So may I thank you and say no. I intend to contest the seat as a Labour candidate, as I've always done, and I see no reason why I should not retain it.
I'm sorry you feel that way, Mr. Fraser. Good day.
Goodbye. Thanks very much for coming along anyway, gentlemen. Thank you.
Good day.
Goodbye just now. Goodbye.
Don't you play with you now? That was it. Move up. turn them down so quickly?
I don't like being told by people, and certainly not by Jock McPherson, that I'll lose my seat at the next election unless I fall in with his plans. Come on, you big man. 10 minutes for the ball and then bed.
People like these ran Westminster.
What people?
Haldeman, Ehrlich, Mitchell, all that unsavoury crowd.
To a lesser extent, yes. Is that surprising?
Nothing surprises me anymore. What about Nixon? Have you got one of those?
No, I think he's rather unique. You have a certain sympathy for him.
God knows why. Is this campaign going to be easy?
For me, I don't see any problems.
No, I wasn't talking about you.
No sane person's going to allow the unions to run the country, so I don't think Henry's got much to worry about. Mark you, if he loses, I could return to the backbenches.
Not all that again. God, I'm getting sick of politics.
You didn't have to come with me.
If I'm going to remain your dutiful wife, Charles, I'm going to play the part as it's written. I don't want you to lose because of me. So, which baby do I kiss first?
He's called Peter Jimison.
Who's he?
He's a reporter from the local paper. I got a tip from Gerald. Get a list of all the events and times due to be covered each day. Arrive 5 minutes early. You're guaranteed to get your picture in the paper anytime.
That's what I like about you, Charles. You always know all the tricks. Must be why you sympathise with him.
Did you see this? From the Scottish Nationalist, sent to me. Andrew Fraser, the man who has forgotten Edinburgh, should no longer be allowed to represent a Scottish seat. He prefers to linger in his expensive and fashionable Kensington apartment rather than...
I thought McPherson took my refusal a wee bit calmly.
Well, you can't let them get away with it.
It's not worth losing sleep over.
But it could lose you votes.
They probably said the same thing about the Tory and the Liberal. The only thing that'll lose me votes is if we miss the train to Edinburgh. Come on.
Come on, darling, let's get your coat. Toys you want to take, Robert?
Are you very confident of victory, Mr. Gould?
Certainly, yes. I don't think people are misled by this Tory high-handedness. I think they can see it for what it is. A sustained attack, not only on the living standards of the National Union of Mine Workers, but working people as a whole. And I think this election...
Don't you think that's a little strong?
Excuse me. No, that's exactly what the issue is.
Okay, thank you. Excuse me. Thank you.
You're not supposed to park here, sir. Sorry, officer. I'll move now. Oh, by the way, is it clear who won the election yet?
Looks like Labour is back in. Did you vote for them, sir?
No, I didn't vote for anyone.
Would you mind taking a seat for a moment, Mr. Seymour? Mr. Spencer is just on the telephone.
Thank you very much. Well, a few minutes early, anyway. Oh, by the way, would it be possible to say hello to Mrs. Trubshaw? I haven't seen her for ages.
Mrs. Trubshaw retired 2 years ago.
Really?
Mr. Spencer is off the telephone now. Mr. Seymour is here to see you, sir.
Right, well, show him in, will you?
Thank you.
Hello, Charles.
Morning, Derek. You're looking well.
Thank you. You too. Well, it's good to see you after such a long time. What is it? Must be, well, it must be all of 6 years since you were last here.
Yes, I suppose it is.
Can I offer you a drink or a cup of tea? Do sit down.
Thank you. It's a bit early for a drink. I can't stand office tea.
I was sorry to hear about the election result.
Yes, no more than I. Which is, of course, why I'm here.
I'm sorry. I don't understand.
Well, I wish to be reinstated on the board. What is there to understand?
Ah. It's not quite as simple as that, Charles. I've got rather a full board at the moment. I've just appointed 2 new directors.
Well, of course it's as simple as that. You're the chairman. You just put my name forward at the next meeting, and it'll go through. Especially as we haven't got a member of the family on the board at the moment.
Well, we do, as a matter of fact. I've just appointed your brother, the Earl of Markham, as a non-executive director.
Really? Rupert never told me. Neither did you.
Well, it's all in the annual report. You've obviously been very busy. You see, things have changed around here, Charles.
Nothing's changed, Spencer. It just seems that you're about to renege on our original agreement.
I think it's rather unproductive, don't you, to take that attitude?
Are you taking orders from my brother? He has no authority over you, and you know it. Now, are you going to honor our undertaking or not?
Well, I'm afraid the answer, even for an ex-minister, has to be no, Charles.
You're a despicable man, Spencer.
You know, I really don't have to sit here in my own office and take that sort of abuse.
If you're not careful, the next time I'll say it will be in your own boardroom.
Threats don't impress me. You've lost one election, now you're about to lose another. I can assure you you'll never sit on this board as long as I'm chairman. Now get out, will you? I've got a bank to run. Marion, will you come in, please? Mr. Seymour is leaving.
Raymond Gould. Yeah, he not only got the acquittal, but did you know he's asking for £25,000 compensation?
Oh, lucky O'Halloran. Come out of this better than I have.
What's it like in the outside world?
Grim.
I nearly joined you. The Nationalists nearly ousted me.
You'd like to order now, sir?
A bit of lemon for me, please, Jimmy.
Thank you.
A whiskey, please. Small.
Thank you.
Do you have a job yet?
I'm considering a couple of offers. People have been very kind.
Well, you're sorely missed, even if I'm speaking from across the floor.
Thank you. So, how are you getting on in my old job?
Ironic, isn't it?
I bet Neville gave you at least 3 red boxes on your first day.
Well, a man can't write 1 paragraph. He has to write 5. Thank you.
So you only read the last. Otherwise, you'll be up all night. Oh, by the way, Elizabeth asked me to ask you how your boy Robert was getting on.
Well, he's very well. He's nearly 4 now, and I can't get the rugby ball away from him.
Time you had another one, isn't it?
That's not on. I'm surprised Elizabeth never told you.
You mean Louise can't? Sorry, I didn't realize. Well, here's Nethercote.
Evening, Simon.
Ronald Nethercote, Andrew Fraser.
Hello, how do you do?
Mr. Fraser?
Will speaking.
Isn't he a Labour minister?
So?
Didn't realise you collaborated with the enemy.
He's a friend, Ronnie. You're the enemy.
Oh, don't start that again. I come bearing palms of peace.
You're going public?
No. God almighty. Before you give yourself a double hernia...
Now, shut up a minute, Ronnie, and listen to me. Have you any idea what it's like to be almost bankrupt?
My company has an overdraft too,
But you don't. I've lost friends because I borrowed money from them. Last term, my son went to school on a bounced check. And worst of all, I have to lie to my wife. And I can't sell my bloody shares because they're worth half of what they were a year ago. Frankly, Ronnie, at this moment, I wish I'd never set eyes on you.
I understand how you feel, but if I go public now, your shares will be worth 1/3 and a half.
I'm scared, Ronnie.
I know. And that's why I'm here. To invite you back on the board at Nethercote for £4,000 a year. I can't be fairer than that.
5,000 and a company car.
The other directors might not agree on
I can't survive on anything less.
All right. It's a deal.
Well, what's so urgent?
Do you remember Mrs. Trubshaw, the company secretary who you thought was retired rather early?
Yes, of course I do. What about her?
Well, I rang her, and she didn't retire voluntarily. She was pushed, and she's not very pleased about it. In fact, she thinks Spencer did the pushing.
Does she?
So, I'm meeting her for lunch. Who knows? She may be the key to the whole business.
You're a clever girl.
Curious how no one will admit to voting for Nixon now that he's disgraced himself.
He still denies he's a crook.
Yeah, well, so do 90% of our clients.
Will it be a victory for democracy or the American legal system?
Well, we lawyers always like to take the credit, but I'm afraid this time we may have to share it with the Washington Post.
Oh, honey.
Well, goodbye. It's been very nice meeting you, Mr. Clark, Mrs. Clark. Very
Goodbye,
nice.
Raymond. Don't forget to call us.
I will, yes.
Can we give you a ride home?
Well, that's very nice of you, but I'm afraid Pimlico's a little bit out of your way.
Oh, that's no problem. Give us a chance to see more of London.
Oh. Well, yes, I'd love to. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hope I didn't keep you waiting.
It's all right.
Oh, Ray, this is our niece, Kate Hamilton, Raymond Gould.
Pleased to meet you, Miss Hamilton.
Hi. Are you a lawyer, too?
Well, half of the time. The other half, I'm an MP.
Oh, lawyer turned politician. Just like our president.
Back to Nixon again. That man's gonna haunt us. Okay, let's go.
Did you vote for Nixon, Miss Hamilton?
Yes, in fact, I did.
Why, Kate!
See, we found one.
But in 1960, in the primaries.
Where exactly is Pimlico, Ray?
You head towards Victoria. I'll direct him from there. How long have you lived in London, Miss Hamilton?
It's about 3 months now. And will you please stop being so formal and call me Kate?
So, what did you discover?
Well, after 17 years as secretary to your father and 12 years as secretary to the board, there isn't much Miss Trubshaw doesn't know about Seymour's or its present chairman. So, what do you want to hear about first? Name of Spencer's mistress? Or the number of his Swiss bank account?
My God, where did you find all this out?
We made a deal. You get all the proof you need. She returns as secretary to the board for a further 5 years, with no loss of benefit to her pension.
Is that all?
Oh, and the price of another lunch at the Savoy Grill when you're invited back on the board.
No gilt-edged securities, no Krugerrands.
Not everyone is as greedy as you are, Charles.
What would I do without you?
Think about it.
Now, this may have accorded with Tory notions of fair play when they took us in, and it may regrettably accord with similar notions that obtain on the front bench this side of the House. But it certainly doesn't accord with mine.
Doctor?
I'm the doctor.
Alec, what a surprise. Come in, come in. How are you?
I can't stay, but I had to come to see you. I'm afraid I've some bad news. Christopher Morland has just died of a heart attack.
God almighty. When?
Less than an hour ago, in the house.
Oh, hell. Why him? He's one of the few men in Parliament I admired. I'll ring his wife immediately.
Simon, before you do that, it's time to be practical.
How do you mean?
There'll be a by-election, and this is your chance to get back into Parliament.
It's a bit morbid to discuss that now, isn't it?
Now, don't be sentimental. It's what Christopher would have wanted. You were his number 2 at the Home Office. You're known to his constituents. And Pucklebridge is as safe a seat as you could hope to find.
Can't stop thinking of things like that now.
Simon, don't be a fool. There are at least 60 ex-MPs plotting this very minute. Because Christopher's career is over, do you want yours to be as
Of
well?
course not.
Well, then do something now. You'll never have a better chance.
It's just too soon, Alec.
Simon, I beg you, don't stall on this. Mourn if you like, put on a black tie, but think about your own future. And by all means, ring Morland's widow. She may be of great help.
Hold all my calls, Marianne.
Yes, sir.
I'm not too keen at waiting, Spencer. I've got a memorial service at noon.
Then you should have made an appointment, shouldn't you?
And you would have cancelled it, so I thought I'd talk to you in private rather than raise my query at next month's AGM.
Query? What query?
I'm at a loss to discover why the bank should pay out a monthly cheque of £400 to a Miss Janet Darrow, who doesn't appear to be on the payroll. The cheques have been going to a branch of Lloyd's in Belgravia, it seems. Now, what baffles me is what services Miss Darrow has been supplying to the bank. It must be quite impressive for her to have earned £25,000 over 5 years. A small amount, admittedly, when you consider that the bank's turnover was £123 million last year. Still, the shareholders always latch on to the small figures, don't they?
My word, you have been busy, Charles. What do you want me to do about it?
Nothing, as long as you stick to our original agreement and see that I'm reinstated on the board. And all further payments to the doubtless delectable Miss Darrow will cease immediately.
I always knew you were a bastard, Charles.
Now, that is not entirely accurate, Spencer. I happen to be the second son of the former chairman of this bank, and I bear a striking resemblance to my father, although many people say that I have my mother's temper.
Very well, I'll cancel the arrangements immediately.
I haven't finished yet. What does BX41207122 Bank Rombert Zurich mean
You know
to you?
perfectly well what it means. It's my private account in Switzerland, but you can never prove that.
What I can prove is that you've been using the bank's funds illegally, putting them in a private account and keeping the interest for yourself. Now, I accept the fact that the bank's money has been returned, but I think the board are going to take rather a dim view of your activities, bearing in mind they pay you a handsome salary to make profits for the bank and not for yourself.
I'm sure that when they saw the full figures, the worst they would do would be to slap my wrists.
Really? I doubt if the fraud squad would take such a lenient view if they saw these documents.
But you'd ruin the bank's name if you did that.
And you'd spend the next 10 years of your life in jail.
Very well. What else do you want from me?
Your job. I intend to be chairman of Seymour's again and carry on in the family tradition. Now, if you're not out of this building in 24 hours, I shall have the fraud squad look at these documents.
Well, if I agree, I should want 2 years' salary in compensation.
1. That's more than you deserve.
Hello.
Hello.
I've been waiting for you.
How did you know what time I was leaving?
Well, it's lunchtime. Even you need lunch.
Well, I was going to skip lunch and catch up with some work at the house.
It's very unhealthy to miss a midday meal. I bet you didn't have breakfast either.
Coffee.
Then I'll take you to Wheeler's. Best oversole in town.
Well, this is very kind of you, but...
You're married, I know that.
No, I wasn't going to say that.
What were you going to say?
Let's try the Dover So.
Hello, Charles.
Hello, Alec.
I'm sure you'd like to know that Simon Kerslake has put himself forward for Morland's old seat at Pucklebridge. And if, by any chance, you might think of offering the chairman there the benefit of your sound advice, let me just say that Archie Milburn was at Eton with me, and I've just telephoned him to say that he should stick any opinion of yours where it rightfully belongs. Do excuse me.
I, the undersigned, being the returning officer for the constituency of Pucklebridge, hereby give notice that the total number of votes cast for each candidate at the election was as follows. Allenbury, George, 8,923. Dawson, Stanley, 3,190. Kerslake, Simon, 25,508.
I, Simon Kerslake, swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, her heirs and successors according to law, so help me God.
And that the said Simon Kerslake has been duly elected to serve as member for the said constituency.
I'll come back to the house, Simon. All this joke.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.